Hello there everyone and welcome to a new review on the channel. And today we will be looking at a brand new release, and that is Rabta by MysterPK. A very interesting, again, iPhone product. This is only available on iOS. A very interesting shortcut and project that will allow you to do quite a bunch of interesting things with your contacts on your phone. And I'll be honest, straight from the gate, I did review quite a few of MysterPK's past products, but this one is just the best out of the bunch. It is the most thought out one. It is the most worked on. And I think that it is just fantastic because yes, he does offer you, how to use it as an actual trick with your contacts. But if you actually think a bit about it, you can actually use this as much more. And I'm going to tell you all about that right after the intro. Perfect, so you decide to stick around, which means you want to learn more about Rabta. So what is Rabta? Well, Rabta in the cleanest sense, I'm going to explain it in three different ways. So Rabta in the first way is essentially if you know someone's phone number, so if it's your friend, a family member, someone at the gig that hired you, that you know their number, what you're essentially able to do is you can have them think of any celebrity, any character, fictional or not, and have it write it on Google or whatever you want, and then you ask them for their phone. You then call yourself from their phone, and their contact will be the exact person they just thought of. So when it shows you, the call ID, it's going to show you that that's, the person they thought of. There's also the ability, you can actually change their picture on their contact to that random celebrity that they were thinking about. You can have them think of a company, a brand, a city, anything, and in their contact, in the actual company name tab, if you have an iPhone, you know what I mean, it's going to be written the brand, the company that they thought of. And lastly, what you can also do is you can have them essentially think of anything. You can have them play a game of word association, and the last word that they're thinking of will be predicted in their contact, in the notes of the contact. Because again, if you're familiar with iPhone, every contact has a note. So you can say, a bit about the person or whatever. You can put a prediction. You can do that and many, many more things. So essentially what you can do is you can use someone's contact as a reveal tool. So you can reveal pretty much anything that you would ever want in someone's contact, which is very, very good. Now, let's say that you do not have this person's contact. So let's say it's a complete stranger in the street. Well, essentially what you can do is you can do two effects. So he gives you one effect that will allow you to get that person's contact without them ever knowing, which then will allow you to reveal that in a very interesting way. And then you can do any of the previous effects that I've mentioned as a second phase, okay? But let's say you don't want to do that. Let's say you don't want to ask someone a phone number, you don't want to do it with other people's contacts. Well, you can just simply use this as a prediction tool. So essentially you can do all of that, but within your contact, which is very nice because iPhone, if you do know again, in the contact list, your contact will always be on the top. It will be the main contact. So you can do the picture prediction, the name prediction, the company name prediction, the notes prediction, all within your actual contact. And it's very easy to justify, say, look, I've made a prediction earlier today. I've actually, we'll come back to it. You have them think the way that, look, I'll give you one of my presentations that I do for my favorite effect of this is I go up to someone and I say, hey, you present yourself, you give some patter, and you tell them, what I want you to do is I want you to look at me. We haven't met for very long, right? But in the way that I act, the way that I talk, and the way that I dress, I want you to think of either a celebrity or a fictional character that I may remind you of. So just think of it, do not say it out loud, okay? Now, can you open up your phone and can you look for it on Google? They will do so, and they say, okay, now close your phone. So now what's interesting is that you thought of any fictional or non-fictional character, actor, or even, a character that you wanted. Is that fair? They're gonna say yes. But see, what's actually interesting is that this morning, I woke up and I had this person in mind. And what I did is I took a picture and I placed it as my contact on my phone. Can you actually open up your phone and say, can you open up my cell phone tab? They open up the cell phone tab and they click on contacts, and then the person that they just randomly thought of, they've never said it out loud, is going to be the picture of your contact that you placed this morning. So that's one thing that you can do. So knowing now these three distinctions, there's also a fourth one that I may add, is that you could use this as a peek tool. if you want. So you could literally just have this as a mental list, you could do this as a routine, but instead of using it as a prediction, you can use it as a peak tool. This is not really mentioned in any of the tutorials or product, but if you're smart enough, you can just use this as a very simple peak tool. So just imagine someone searches something on your phone, they close it, they close the tab, they close everything, and then you just take back your phone and you may, do something with it and you just check in your contact as a peak. So you could do that if you want. It's an available thing for you as well if you think outside of the box a bit, okay? Now this kind of grasps everything that you can do with Rabta, but now let's get into where you buy this, how much does it cost, and what do you get? So you can buy this directly from MysterPK. As always, I'm gonna put the link down below, and this will set you back $50 US, which is 72 Canadian dollars when I did go to the checkout of the product. And what you get with Rabta is a lot. And I think this is what marks Rabta as a very good app, is the amount of stuff that you can do with this. Because other products I did say that, oh, it's better to have Inject or better to have Ellipse or Hydra from in past MysterPK products, because I've always said that, oh, the manual inputs aren't very good and they're not even present. But here, you are getting so many manual inputs that are so good that you do not even need to own apps like Inject, apps like Wikitest, apps like Ellipse, apps like Cypher Pro. You do not need to own any of them because the manual inputs here are fantastic. And as I mentioned, just those inputs, you can just use those as a peak tool if you want. So you don't even need to do the routine if you want. You can just use how good these input methods are and use them as a peak if that interests you. So the input methods are a Wikipedia. So anyone will open your phone, go on Safari, go on Wikipedia, no fake links, no misdirections, they do that. They go on Wikipedia, they search anything, it will be predicted in the contacts. Second, it's the web peak. They will go on Google, they will search anything on Google. No redirection, no NFC tags, nothing like that. You do not even need Inject. They go on your phone, but these has to be done on your phone, okay? Anything on Google, boom, it will be in your contacts. A note one, so they will go and they open up your native notes, no need for anything else. They open up the notes, they write anything in notes, it will be predicted. Then you can also use manual inputs that are part of the routine, where essentially, when you take back the phone, you can input something and it'll be good to go. There's also a camera input where you can input something that's been written down. And lastly, there's also your app input. So if you want to do it on their phone rather than your phone, you can do it with Inject, you can do it with Ellipse, you can do it with Wikitest, you can do it with Cypher Pro, you can do it with a bunch of apps if you own them. But in my opinion, the Notes peak and the Web peak input rather than peak, because they're not really peaks, the inputs are so good on their own that I don't even think you need Inject. You may want Inject only if you want to do it on a spectator's phone, but I don't see any reason why you would play a bit less if it's on your phone, because technically they open up the phone and they just go on Safari like they would on their phone. So there's not really anything. There's no secret apps or anything like that they have to do. So the input methods are so good here, and they're all provided to you. This is no extra cost, nothing. Everything is given to you in these inputs, and they're honestly fantastic. Then on top of these inputs, you're also going to be getting the reveals, which I've also said can be a picture, a name, a company name, or a prediction on the notes, on the phone if you want. And you can also do, as I said, you can also extract someone's phone number in an instant if you want. That is available to you as well as a prediction. And then what you're also going to get with this is the instructions. So you're going to get PDF instructions, but also video instructions about how everything works, how to set it up, how everything is designed, and how everything is meant to operate. And you're also going to get some presentational ideas to get you started. But honestly, those presentation ideas are very basic. So I would, think of your own that you can apply to this. So that is everything that you get. Of course, are also the shortcut that is already pre-made for you and given to you. So now that we've said all about that, let's get into difficulties. How difficult is Rabta to perform? It is incredibly easy to perform. What is very nice is that Amir has given you the option to use, the special gimmick of shortcut magic if you want, but he's also inputted in the input methods ways to do it that are very interesting without having the need of such a device. So one of the justification that he gives is just so good because a lot of apps ask you, oh, it's better with a remote, but they never really give you a justification to use the actual phone. But he tells the spectator to do the dirty work for him, which is just so smart. And I don't want to say what it is because, it is his idea, and I haven't seen this idea applied to other products before that use shortcuts. So I don't want to give it away so that people use it with the other products, but it's very, very good. And he also has some shortcuts that work based on the open close feature of the iPhone. So for example, with the new iPhones, it detects when there's not any light on it, so it closes. So when the spectator puts it on their chest, for example, it's going to immediately do the input, or if they put it on the table, it's going to do the input without them even knowing. So he did input some things like these that are going to make the effect even easier, even if you do not own that extra little gimmick that you mostly probably have if you already do shortcut magic. But essentially it is relatively easy. The only harder effect is going to be the phone effect of a stranger. So getting the person's number is easy, but then you're going to have to find a way to make it chain into the second phase and reveal it in an interesting way in order, to make it magical. So that will need a bit of finesse, but it's not too complicated. Now let's talk about practicality. So how practical is this? It is extremely practical. If you do not want to use inject or wikitest or anything like that needs to be used on a spectator's phone or anything like that, you only need your phone. So as long as you have your phone and you're connected to internet, you can do these routines without any problem. So you do not need an external phone or anything like that. You just need your phone. So carrying capacity, you will always have it with you. So it's pretty much zero. In terms of angles, the angles of this are pretty much good depending on the input that you do and the routine, from 180 to 360. Repeating, you can repeat the effect as many times if you want, if you wish. The reset is pretty much instant. It's going to take maybe like 2 seconds to reset it. Of course, if you're predicting something on a spectator's if you're changing, for example, your picture or a spectator's picture, you're going to have to just reset the picture or the name, etc. Right? So what I mean by this is if you're setting your name, if you do the routine and your name appears as Will Smith, for example, you're going to have to delete Will Smith so that when you do it again, it's going to appear as a new name and it's not going to be like Will Smith, Angelina Jolie, right? Because it's going to put them together. So you're just going to have to make sure to delete that in your contacts and put it as blank or whatever in order for it to work well in the best way possible. So just keep an eye on that. But again, it's like 2 seconds. It's super quick and it can be done on the spot. And you do not need a table for this whatsoever, but you do need an internet connection if you are doing this on your phone. Now let's talk about where you perform. So where would you perform this? This can be performed pretty much anywhere. You could definitely do this in parlor, stand-up, corporate gigs, or walk-around gigs, or table hopping gigs, anything like that. You can even do this if you want, on stage. If you do phone magic on stage, you could even do this. I think the phone call one would be very impressive on stage, having someone at the other end of the stage think of their phone number, and then you instantly get the digits and you can call their phone at the other end of the stage. I think that would be a really cool stage piece that I think could play very well, especially if you're into mentalism. I think it would work really well. So now that we've said all of this, what are the positives and negatives of Rabta? First, let's start out with the negatives. Well, one negative is, as always, this app is only available for iOS, so all the Android users will not unfortunately be able to use it. And that's pretty much the only real negative I have, because compared to other ones where I've critiqued the input methods and I've said, they're a bit lackluster and you do need to buy a certain app and you need to buy that enhancement, here, you do not need any of that. I think he's put so much effort in the actual input methods that you do not need any of those, which will bring me to the positives, which is one, I think the price for the amount of input methods that you get is great. For the amount of uses that you get is great. The effect is very original. It's interesting. It's different to what's on the market. It's already well built to you. The instructions are great. It works well. It's also something that once you have it, it's essentially going to work forever. As long as iPhones still do shortcuts, it's going to be working forever. And it's just very easy to do. You can do it pretty much anywhere, and it's very practical as well. So now that I've said all of this, what would I give Rabta out of 10 and would I recommend it? I think that in a world where we're getting really saturated with iPhone magic and iPhone shortcuts, I think that Rabta is a very interesting product to consider because it is unique and it is different to the rest. And I think that if you can do something, with, let's say you get booked for a corporate gig and the person's phone number and you do a prediction on their actual, contact, I think that would play very, very well, you know? For example, I'm just thinking if you're doing some kind of a corporate gig, you ask someone, you know, if you were to describe your company in 3 words, what would it be? Don't make it the slogan, go off your head. New words, what would be 3 words to describe your company? They write them down, for example, and then when they go in their contact, you see, look, this morning I had a feeling, and it's going to write, I had a feeling that the 3 words that you will use to describe your amazing company, whatever, is going to be 1, 2, 3, and that's going to be revealed in the notes. And just think how powerful that is for someone, especially in a corporate world, and someone that cares about stuff like these and keeping contacts close and using contacts to your advantage. I think this is a very interesting way, and it's also a very good way to share your number. So if you're, you know, at a gig or at a place where you can share your contact with people so they get to know you, it's a very good way to do that as well. So I fully recommend Rabta. I think it's very, very good. And out of 10, I'm giving it a 9.25. In my opinion, out of all of the past MysterPK releases, it is the best one, hands down. I think it has so many uses and it's so good in terms of inputs that I think it is just fantastic. So that's all I have to say about Rabta. Thank you everyone so much for listening, watching, and liking and subscribing. If ever, leave a comment. If not, I'll see you all in my next review. Have a great one, and bye-bye.